My name is Jean-Marc Brand. I'm 18 years old. I was born in Kansas City, Kansas, but for most of my life I've lived in Dallas, Texas, and so I consider myself a proud Texan. When I first discovered that there are political parties in America, I considered myself a Republican because I believed they were the party of family values and of Christian values, because at the time, that's what they were, like when John McCain and Mitt Romney were running for president. And as a Christian myself, this was very important to me. Don't get me wrong, I still hold some conservative values still, but I'm just not a Republican anymore. Even though my personal favorite president in the modern history of America is Ronald Reagan. When Donald Trump won the election, I changed my affiliation to Democrat from Republican, but then I realized I did not believe everything that the Democratic Party stood for, and so I decided to register as an independent when I got my voter ID. I did not know who Donald Trump was until he decided to run as president for the United States. I didn't keep up much with him in 2016 because I was too young to vote at that time, but the few things I did hear about Donald Trump made me think, this guy is a kook, he'll never be our president, such as wanting to ban Muslims from entering the United States. And this really infuriated me because I've been to 20 countries, including Muslim countries, and all the Muslims I met are some of the most hospitable, kind people I've ever met. When Donald Trump actually became president of the United States, I was obviously very disappointed, but I thought, who knows, maybe he'll learn how to be president, and maybe he'll learn from his mistakes. But he never has. One of the main factors that has made me decide not to vote for Donald Trump in this election was his handling of the coronavirus. The United States has done probably the worst job of handling the coronavirus of any country that I know of in the world. An example I can think of this is I went to Russia in late January and early February, and back then I saw Russians wearing masks, whereas in America the only people that were wearing masks were at the airports. Donald Trump could have done a number of things better in order to contain the virus. He could have at least listened to his advisors when they were first trying to warn him about the coronavirus and how it could possibly spread to America, but he didn't listen to those warnings or any of the experts until it was too late. And because of this, 180,000 Americans have died of COVID. This is a very scary thought to me because if we get hit by another pandemic, Donald Trump is going to be completely clueless of how to handle it, just like he's been clueless on how to handle the coronavirus. The other reason why we need to vote Donald Trump out is because we need a president that will unite us. Donald Trump has done absolutely nothing to unite us as American citizens, regardless of political affiliation. That's why he continues to call politicians that he doesn't like names such as pencil neck, like he's an 11-year-old schoolyard bully. When it comes to policy, it's either Donald Trump's way or it's no way. Donald Trump demonstrated this when he talked to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi about his border wall. Basically what he said was, give me my money for my border wall or else I will shut down the government. The two responded by saying, we won't give you money for a border wall, but we'll give you money for border security. But Trump refused it. And because of this, he shut down the government, and as a matter of fact, it was the longest government shutdown in the history of our country. And it was all because Trump could not keep a promise that he made in his campaign that Mexico was supposed to pay for the border wall. Like I said previously, we need a president that will unite us regardless of political affiliation. Because there are no blue or red states, there's only the United States. Meaning we have states that are more liberal and conservative, but at the end of the day, we're still one country. The other reason why I cannot stand Donald Trump is because of his lack of morals. I could use many words to describe Donald Trump, but I'm only going to use a few because I don't want this video to be too long. Trump is a misogynist. I don't feel comfortable quoting anything that he said about women, so simply Google quotes about women from Donald Trump and you'll see exactly what I mean. Not only is Trump a misogynist, but he is also a racist, and what's worse is that the Republicans defend his racism. Such as when Donald Trump said that we need less people from poor black countries in Africa and more people from predominantly white countries that are rich, such as Norway, which is quite ironic because Norway is actually accepting refugees from these poor countries. Donald Trump is also a xenophobe. That's the reason why he told some women in Congress whose parents were not from America to go back where they came from. And I am utterly disgusted by this because I don't know what's worse, the fact that Donald Trump told some women to go back where they came from, or the fact that he said it to women who are already where they came from. It's like in Donald Trump's mind, you can't be a person of color and still be an American. And I'm not even done there. I remember when Donald Trump supporters chanted, "Send her back," to a legal immigrant from Somalia, proving that Trump and his supporters are not pro-legal immigration like they claim. They are against immigration when it comes to non-white people. When I talk to many of my evangelical brothers and sisters, they say things like, well, we're not electing a pastor, we're electing a president. I'm like, well, then there's your problem. We aren't holding people in authority over us to high moral standards anymore. Because of this, the Republican Party chose a brothel house owner and a self-proclaimed Holocaust denier one time as legitimate Republican candidates. How did we get this far? Simple. We lowered our standards in what we expect in leaders. After all, we're not electing pastors, right? Don't get me wrong, it's not that I expect everyone in Congress and in authority over us to be a Christian, but I at least want a person that is a decent human being, and I can't say Trump is one. The other reason why I cannot vote for Donald Trump in this election is because Donald Trump is a dictator wannabe. He's proven this by how he praises Kim Jong-un of North Korea. And it's funny because many evangelicals claim that they love Trump because he helps persecute Christians in other countries. And I'm like, really? Then why is he siding with one of the most brutal dictators and one of the worst persecutors of Christians in the history of our century? Where's the logic in that? It's so obvious that Donald Trump is reading from the dictator's playbook. That's the reason why he calls any media he doesn't like an enemy of the people. This is the same technique that dictators have used for decades, literally. Since the days of Joseph Stalin called any media that he did not like Vrak Naroda, which means enemy of the nation or of the people. And then when Hitler saw any news he didn't like, he called them Lügenpresse, which means press of lies or lying press. And since I know so many Trump supporters and Americans are worried about America becoming like Venezuela, let's talk about Venezuela. The former dictator of Venezuela, named Hugo Chavez, called a TV station that was known for criticizing him called Globovision Enemigos de la Patria, which means enemies of the fatherland. Does anyone notice a pattern yet? The other reason why I cannot support Donald Trump in this election is because of how Donald Trump has made it harder to evangelize to non-believers. The reason for this is because evangelicals have identified so closely with Donald Trump, and it's like they've made politics their second religion. The reason why I know this as a fact is because I know a young missionary to Germany, and she can confirm this. You see, for those of you who don't know, Germany is a very secular and liberal country, and its capital, Berlin, is known as the atheist capital of the world. My friend is also involved in street evangelism in the atheist capital, Berlin, and when she talks to the average liberal German, and when she tells them that she's a Christian and evangelical and from the South, the first thing that Germans ask her is, so do you support Donald Trump? I mean, for real, when you're a young street evangelist who wants to minister to people, you want to be asked questions like, who is Jesus? How can I know him personally? How do I know I'll go to heaven when I die? Not whether you support a certain political candidate or a president or not. This is the consequence because evangelicals have identified so closely with Donald Trump and have refused to criticize him no matter what he does. Now, I understand why many evangelicals voted for Donald Trump, because I can't say Hillary Clinton was a better option. However, in the 2020 election, we have a better option, and his name is Joe Biden. Now, if there was a real conservative that had a chance to beat Donald Trump, I would vote for him instead. But the problem is the Republican Party is completely backing up Donald Trump, and so in the 2020 election, I'm sorry, but I just can't bring myself to vote for the Republican Party this year. And many of my evangelical friends think I'm crazy. They're like, why Joe Biden? My response is, Joe Biden was never my first choice, nor was he my third, or my fifth, or even my 10th. But I'm willing to walk barefoot on broken glass and then run through a swarm of angry hornets in order to vote out the dictator wannabe that is currently in office right now. So yeah, that's the reason why I left the Republican Party. Take care. P.S. Dump Trump 2020.